the Madman! Welcome to another day of early reveal season in Titans. And we got two more Titans for you today. It's the Paladin and the Warrior Titan. These Titans seem more inclined towards value and control. I know I've said for the previous Titans so far, you pretty much throw these into any deck. However, for these particular ones, I think they don't go into every deck. Doesn't mean they're bad, means they're kind of specialized, so to say. So we'll begin with the Paladin one. Amitus is a 7 mana, 1/8 in stats. Taunt, your minions can't take more than 2 damage at a time.
I will not forsake you.
Which ability are you likely to play first? Will you play Empowered, give your other minions +2/+2? Well, that one seems kind of out of place, honestly, because this implies that you're playing it in a swarmy deck, and then you'll play it to immediately buff all of your minions in play. Would you like to use Pacified? Set the attack and health of all enemy minions to 2. So this is a similar equality, while you're also reducing a bunch of enemy minions' attack, which is an interesting thing to do, because Amitus herself makes it so that your minions can't take more than 2 damage at a time. So kind of the turn she comes into play, reducing them to 2 isn't that useful, the attack that is. That leads me to believe that the main reason to play Amitus is for Reinforce, and it's a big reason. Draw 2 minions, set their attack, health, and cost to 2. There's been some buzz around Amitus having effect similar to Geppetto Joy Buzz. So while Geppetto may not have seen much play, we have bigger impact big minions these days than back in Geppetto's day. And of course, the Amitus stat line is better than Geppetto with 8 health worth of taunt, but the 8 health worth of taunt is actually potentially significantly more, given that Amitus can't take more than 2 damage at a time. Might see Amitus see some play in some sort of control paladin or combo paladin, which only has really big minions. So you aim to play Amitus, and then you draw the minions, and you discount the minions down to 2, which also is a combination with a few of the other paladin cards that have gotten revealed so far. And perhaps one of the reasons why Amitus's attack is not 2 is because Tyr could resurrect a 2-cost paladin minion, and that would be Amitus, which would be quite strong. So in short, I do think that Amitus is probably the narrowest Titan that I've seen so far, in that the specific deck that it goes into is actually kind of unknown. I'm not sure what deck Amitus goes into. Notably, I don't believe she will necessarily have an obvious add into the pure paladin deck, which tends to be more aggressive. So yeah, that's a revelation. You might not see the Paladin Titan in the deck that only runs paladin cards. Or who knows, maybe there is some sort of pure paladin deck that could come about that is more value oriented instead of tempo oriented. Now for the Warrior Titan, Khaz'goroth, 6 mana 4/4. After this uses an ability, gain immune this turn and attack a random enemy minion.
What story will you give my world?
So what can you do with Khaz'goroth, which will make it gain immune and then attack a random enemy minion? You could Titan Forge, which makes Khaz'goroth a 6 mana 6/6, and then you draw a weapon. That's a pretty good value when you use it and then immediately attacks a minion and then kills it, presumably. Titan Forging is probably the thing you do if your opponent has exactly 1 minion that has like 6 or less health. But suppose that's not the case. Suppose they have multiple minions, then perhaps you want to start with Tempering, which gains 5 attack and gives your hero +5 attack this turn. So that would be a 9/4 Khaz'goroth, and then you have 5 attack. So if your opponent has 1 big minion, you will hope that Khaz'goroth goes into the big minion, and then you can use the 5 attack to finish the other minion. Or if they have 2 medium minions of 5 health or under, then Khaz'goroth and you can remove those 2 minions. Finally, you have Heart of Flame, which is the, hey, I'm a control warrior, and I don't really have much to do at the moment. Let me gain a small benefit. You can summon a 4/9 Khaz'goroth and give your hero 5 armor. As well, if 4 attack is all that you need to kill a guy, well then, sure, maybe you play Khaz'goroth and then you play Heart of Flame. I actually could see it being used all the time. Suppose that you're ahead and you've been clearing your opponent's minions. Suppose you really need the health, like you need 5 health. 5 armor, rather, because the aggro deck has been bullying you. So I think all 3 of these abilities have validity in being played the turn that Khaz'goroth gets played. Given that this main ability of Khaz'goroth is to remove enemy minions, this is definitely more tilted towards control, but I could see a value or a mid-range deck also running Khaz'goroth. Control just means like a long-term deck as well, so combo decks for Khaz'goroth. The only question mark would be, does a aggressive deck or a tempo deck run Khaz'goroth? Let's suppose you start him off with Titan Forge, and then he's a 6/6, you get your weapon, and you kill a guy. You may think that you could then use Tempering to do massive amounts of damage to the face. Wow, 16 damage to the face, but you can only attack with Khaz'goroth. You can only like manually attack after all 3 abilities have been used, which means the Tempering might be used last if you don't need to immediately remove your opponent's minions, because the +5 attack will be very common, on the other hand, if your opponent has multiple minions and you need to remove them. But a standard progression for a mid-rangey Khaz'goroth might be something like you start off with Titan Forge, you kill your opponent's minion, you play Heart of Flame, and then you possibly kill another minion, like if Khaz'goroth was allowed to survive, and you gain some armor. And then finally, with the Tempering at the end, then you have added all these abilities together for +7/+7, so that's an 11/11 for 6 mana. You've probably killed 3 minions. You've gained your 5 armor, you've killed another guy with a +5 attack, or you go face with it for 16 total damage, and then you've drawn a weapon. So Khaz'goroth definitely gets some value over time. Cool to see a Titan which bulks himself up. So 7 of the Titans are revealed so far. Looks like over the next 2 days, we're going to get 2 and 2 more. What unique Titans will we see next?